Hey guys, it's after work. It's about 4:45 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, and I'm sitting outside my sister's school waiting to pick her up, my old alma mater where I went to nursing school. Yeah, today was my first day of having my own caseload, which is pretty exciting. Instead of case sharing with somebody or just filling in for other people, I've actually got a caseload that I'm responsible for from a nursing perspective. Of course, there's other people involved too, like social workers and, people like that. It's pretty exciting. It's a pretty big deal. Sorry, I'm just like clearing out the seat next to me so my sister has somewhere to sit. I'm trying to get a handle on all of the new organizational tasks I have to do, and something I actually slipped up on today was I didn't realize that I have to actually use the scheduler interface in our charting software. I like to just kind of make up my schedule as I go and just keep it up here, but now other people need to know what my schedule is too, just to like coordinate staffing and stuff. So I'm a little late doing that. I'll get my scheduler together tomorrow. Oh, here she is. Better unlock the door. Yeah. Hello. I was just talking about how I've got my own caseload now.
Yay! I saw that on Facebook. That's exciting.
So there's all this like new organizational stuff I have to do. Like, I was just talking about how I can't just like make up my schedule and keep it in my head anymore because other people need to know what my schedule is now too. So I have to actually use the scheduling interface in our software. But I found out that if I use the appointment feature of the email system that we use, it actually updates my phone's to-do list.
Oh, that's good.
Which is very convenient. I'll have to start using that for things like port flushes or like recertifications or things that don't happen regularly. That should be pretty good. And then tomorrow, for the first time, I get to go to interdisciplinary team meeting as one of the primary care nurses and not just a friendly observer. A friendly, helpful observer. They're actually going to be calling upon me to report things to the doctor who will be in attendance. So that should be fun. I've been looking forward to that this whole time. I'd actually like sit around with a group of people and like, I've been having this problem with this and I don't know what to do about that, and then everybody can be like, well, you should try this, or why don't we do this, and that'll be good. And I just started looking at my next couple of classes that I'm going to take. And one of them is Religious Studies 101. Yeah. I'm going to have to write a 5 to 7 page paper about making just a personal field trip to a house of worship, and then like writing about what kind of people were there and how I was greeted and things like that. 5 to 7 pages.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, I have the feeling that the person teaching the class might be a little, what do you call it?
Insane?
No, like vision impaired.
Oh, okay.
Because the margins specified and the font size that was specified. I mean, like I'm used to like
12-point font.
12-point double-spaced inch-and-a-half margin, like 1-inch margins or
yeah.
half-an-inch margins.
That's standard for me too.
And this is like she said like 14 to 16-point font and 1.5-inch margins double-spaced. So I mean, this is gonna be huge. So they say 5 to 7 pages, but it's really gonna be more like a 2-page paper. So that's good.
Have you picked a house of worship?
No, I don't know where I'm gonna go. All the interesting places I could think of are out of state. Like they're far away, like the Native American church or something like that.
I could quickly create a Church of Satan in our basement.
Well, that would
and
work
then greet you warmly.
Yeah. I have a couple of friends in the clergy business, so maybe I'll go to one of their places. I think I have a friend who's going to school for MDiv, and she's a Unitarian minister or something like that. Maybe I'll do something like that. I don't know. It would be kind of funny from like a sociological sense to like go back to the church that we went to when we were little.
Oh, St. Luke's?
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
Yeah. I don't think I'll actually do that though. Of course, I could just make it up too. I mean,
you're very good with creative writing.
Yeah. I don't see how they would know the difference.
My problem with making it up would be I'd try to make it too dramatic and interesting, and that would give it away.
That would give away the game. Yeah, that would give it away. But my books for these 2 classes was like $450. I had to put it on my credit card.
Oh.
And I just know that I'm not going to end up using them. But this teacher seems a little wilier. Instead of asking like general things that you could figure out by looking it up on Wikipedia, it would be like very specific. What does the author? How does the author define religion? What does the author say religion is? So I can't give what I think is the correct answer. I have to regurgitate it from the expensive, useless book that I purchased for this class. And then the other one is advanced health assessments, and I hope you'll help me with this.
Oh, sure.
Because every other week I have to videotape myself doing some kind of health assessment, like listening to the lungs or, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, I have lungs.
You have lungs. And reading the syllabus said that we may defer some types of assessments, that we don't have to do them. And you'll be happy about this because the ones that we can defer are like breast and inguinal exams. So
I'm okay with skipping those.
Yes, I'm okay with skipping those too. So.
But you can totally check out my lungs or whatever.
Yeah. Listen to your abdomen, or we'll do the thing with the tuning fork. Put the tuning fork on your cheekbone and you can hear it reverberate around your skull and crazy BS like that. Look into your ears and your eyes with the otoscope and the ophthalmoscope, in that order.
No switching them up?
No switching them up. That would not be...
As the result of wacky hijinks?
Maybe we could do that for the outtakes. We'll have like a B-reel of me just like doing weird things that don't make any sense.
As B-reeled often feature?
Yeah, like listening to your knee with my stethoscope.
I must hear the sounds of her brain.
Yeah, that would be good.
It's quiet so far. Too quiet.
So I have to give a speech to the graduating volunteer class at hospice. They all went through like a 6-week class about infectious diseases and how to deal with people who have dementia and how to respect people's rights when you go into their home and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And they want me to give a little 15-minute talk, and they told me right off the bat not to make the topic anything depressing. It's supposed to be like a happy day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that cuts off like 90% of what I would talk to them about. So they said they didn't want it to be clinical or informative or anything like that, because ostensibly they've already completed their training. This is congratulate everybody kind of thing. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to say. I'm going to have lunch with them first, so maybe I'll be able to figure it out by talking to them what I should talk about. I'm just not very good at coming up with I'm really good at public
speaking.
Yeah, I'm good at public speaking, but not at uplifting public speaking. So I'm pretty much going to rely on just my conversations with them immediately beforehand to figure out what to talk to them about.
You do seem to like speaking extemporaneously.
I do enjoy speaking extemporaneously. But I'm going to have the same problem with our brother's wedding, because I'm going to be expected to give a short, uplifting speech.
Everything I could think of was horribly depressing and cynical. I was like, I can't say any of that when he gets married. Yeah, well, I guess I have a pretty good enough self-censor that it reminds me that maybe that I shouldn't be saying any of those things anyway. Did I tell you what he said at his bachelor party? No.
Yeah, he gave a speech at his bachelor party, and I told him that I didn't know what to say at his wedding. And he said, "Are you kidding? I just did your work for you. Say exactly what I said." And what he said was, "I want to thank you all for coming out tonight and celebrating the biggest mistake of my life. And I hope that next time I get married, you guys will be right here with me."
Oh. Yeah, don't say that in front of Melissa.
No. But then, when I tried it out in the context of saying it at his wedding, everybody thought it was really funny. The idea of me saying, "Thanks for coming out and celebrating the biggest mistake of my life," Biggest mistake of my life, letting my little brother get married. But maybe I'll figure out stuff to say by talking to them. I don't really know his wife's family at all, so. No. Oh, how was the underage bachelorette party? How was that? It was okay. Lake Compounds was actually painful to me how overpriced it was. Oh, really? Yeah, I had to spend $21 to go in, not go on any of the rides, and just enter a haunted house. Wow. 2 hours later. It was, yeah. A haunted house, huh? Well, the haunted house, there were a lot of people that, jumped out at you, and
But I did sort of like some of the lighting effects. Like, but they were to the point where, like, with the strobe light or this thing that made it seem like you were walking down a tunnel.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure how I managed to navigate without falling over and dying.
No, like holograms or singing busts or anything like that?
No, there was some stuff that, like, popped up and a bunch of people that, like, darted out or followed you. Yeah. I was mostly amused by everyone else being scared.
Did you see that photo collection on the internet of, like, pictures of people getting scared at haunted houses?
Oh, no, I didn't.
The looks on their faces are priceless. It's really, really good.
There was this really obnoxious drunk guy who kept pawing at his girlfriend and walking really slowly, and he was directly in front of me.
Yeah, that's no good.
Like, at the end of the 45 minutes, my body actually ached from having to walk so slowly.
You can borrow my can of mace for next time.
Excellent.
Although that's not really good to use indoors.
Not in enclosed areas?
No. I mean, you'll clear the whole place out that way.
And then get through even faster.
Okay, good. So I'm glad I have your support for the advanced health assessment. So those of you watching at home will get to see what my sister looks like.
I'm a disembodied hand.
She's a disembodied hand. But I will.
Mother partied too much.
We'll practice our auscultation of the hand. Take the blood pressure around your finger. So yeah, I guess that's everything that's going on. Pretty excited about having my own caseload. It's a new experience, still getting organized. Everybody's giving me their own little helpful hints and their own organizational schemes for how they keep everything straight. I just plan to make a lot of mistakes until I get the hang of it, so I'm not that worried. It's how I learn everything, you know. They say an expert, I forget who said this, maybe it was like Benjamin Franklin or something, but the saying went, an expert is someone who's made every possible mistake in a given field.
Yeah, that sounds like something that Ben would say, you know, in between sexually harassing French ladies. Yeah.
And getting the clap and all that stuff. Yes.
Like a good founding father.
Like a good founding father should. Who said the thing about banks being more dangerous than standing armies? Was that Jefferson or Madison?
I don't know. It could have been either of them.
Or maybe Jackson. Jackson was the big finance guy, right?
But Jefferson was awful pithy.
He was very pithy. He was a pithy fellow. So I think next week is the core course. That's going to be the real big presentation, my hour-long presentation on pain and symptom management.
Did you manage to get the PowerPoint closer to where you want it?
Well, you know, I added more images to it, but I didn't remove any of the other stuff. So as a result, it got longer. My 30-minute presentation that was going to be in a nursing home would be kind of like a dry run for the core course.
Was that the one that got canceled?
Got canceled, right. So the day before the core course, there's an hour-long presentation at a nursing home. That was the same one that I did the ethics talk at. And I did kind of like, passive-aggressively mention that I would have covered the topics that they had asked me about if we had more than a half hour. So they booked me for an hour this time, so I'm really happy about that. Yeah.
See? Passive aggressiveness pays off.
Well, it does in the nursing profession. I'm very sorry to say, but that seems to be how, like, you know, most of the people operate, through passive aggression.
A lot of the time, if someone tries to communicate something to me that way, I totally miss it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, but that works out in my favor, because usually the things that people are trying to communicate at me at that way, I really shouldn't be paying attention to anyway, so it kind of works out. Like in nursing school, this really works to my advantage, because the instructors would kind of see themselves as the gatekeepers of the profession and then play little subtle catty games with the students, but because I was in a gender minority, I didn't really understand anything that they were saying. Like, okay, I guess, but what does that have to do with the grade that I'm getting in your class? Or what does that have to do with the work that I'm doing? You know, like, fine, you can think whatever you want, but I know I'm doing a good job. You know I'm doing a good job. What are you talking about? So, of course, they would have to have a meeting every semester to decide if they were going to kick me out or not. Every semester.
For not understanding subtext?
For not understanding subtext. Or sometimes it was for other people not understanding subtext. Like, there was this one time during my pediatrics rotation. This was the meeting they had to have about whether or not to kick me out my second semester. there was the pediatrics rotation at our local big hospital, and I checked in with the pediatric APRN, who said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any children in this hospital." I'm like, "Oh, that's odd." So we checked a couple of units. We checked the emergency room. We checked the pediatric unit, which is also the cardiac telemetry unit. No children there. We checked, all the places they usually keep kids, and there were no kids.
Miraculously, no child was ill.
And there were no ill children anywhere in the hospital. And there was, they did eventually find a child who was going in for a tonsillectomy. So I got to sit with them and go through the pictures of what the operating room looks like, and hung out with her in post-anesthesia recovery and stuff like that. But I already had my operating room day, so there wasn't really anything different about it, except the bed was smaller, Everything else was about the same. So I checked back in with her at the end, because she said to check back in with her, because this was like the one day that I had slated to have my inpatient pediatric observational experience. And checked in with her to see if there were any new admits, and she said no. And I said, "Wow, it's so hard to believe there's no kids anywhere in this hospital." "Well, thanks for your time, I appreciate it, I'll see you later." And I walked out. And then she called my clinical instructor to complain about how rude I had been to her. So they had to have a meeting about whether or not I could stay in the program, because I was so abominably rude to this APRN.
Maybe she thought that you were being sarcastic, or?
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's what it was. So when you get like this write-up, these clinical occurrences, I got a clinical occurrence for this, which I think is outrageous, because those are only supposed to be for like mistakes that you made clinically, like you had messed something up, you'd used an improper technique,
or hurting someone while doing a catheter or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they monitor you while you're doing those things, so those things don't happen. I mean, they catch you before you do anything really wrong, but
yeah, but
if they realize that you would have done something really wrong if they had not caught you, that's an occurrence,
Yeah.
So whenever you get one of these things, you have to write up your response to it. And my response to it took up 3 pages, and most of it was, remember that story that Robert Anton Wilson used to tell about Dr. Waslovic? You remember this?
I don't think so. I remember hearing a story about Robert Anton. No, I remember hearing a story about Asimov at a party gesturing with a cigar, but that's totally different.
No, that's not related at all. So
it is a little bit.
So briefly, I mean, I kind of embellished it a little bit, but briefly the story goes, this psychologist gets hired at a mental hospital, and he walks through the front door and announces to the receptionist, "I'm Waslovic." And the receptionist says, kind of like a weird look on her face, "I didn't say that you were." And he was like, "Oh, it must be one of the patients posing as the receptionist." So he decided to reinforce reality and says, "But I am." And the receptionist says, "Well, why did you say that you're not?" He's like, "Okay, this person's obviously crazy," and it's like, searching around for security to help him.
Yeah.
But from the receptionist's point of view, this shaggy, unkempt man in a lab coat walks in and says, "I'm not Slavic." And so she decides to calm him down and reinforce reality. He says, "Well, I didn't say that you were." And then he said, "But I am." And he's like, oh, he's getting agitated, and she hits the button, and security comes up, and both people simultaneously try to explain to security that the other person is crazy.
Yeah.
And the point of the story is, of course, the same thing could be seen, 2 very different ways by 2 people who don't know each other very well. And they must have accepted my explanation, because they allowed me to continue my education. But yeah, there was at least one person that had it in for me every semester. That's the only thing that I remember. That's the only one that I remember. I don't remember what it was about the other times.
Yeah. I always find it really interesting, how it seems like in every job you've done or school you've gone to, there's always someone with an unrelenting hatred for you. And I feel like my social skills are at least as bad, but somehow I don't have the talent for offending people as much, so I try to figure out what the difference is.
Well, I mean, the difference is you're not a threat to anybody.
I'm not a threat to anybody?
Well, nobody...
You're so mean. So mean.
Let me put it this way. Nobody has perceived you as a threat.
Oh, okay.
That's a different thing.
Okay.
That's a different thing entirely. You're just more subtle than I am. You're more insidious.
Nice save.
Yeah, but I do tend to be kind of non-compromising.
And you're super great at whistleblowing. I've always liked that.
Yeah, I am a pretty good whistleblower, and that does get me into trouble quite often. I don't think I really had any occasions to blow whistles as a student. I mean, mostly,
maybe they sensed the latent possibility.
Yeah, maybe.
He's just looking for a whistle.
Just looking for a whistle to blow, yes.
program where they encourage that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to practice music all day. I mean, I just decided that wasn't what I enjoyed doing. Although some people would argue the trombone is just a glorified slide whistle. A slide whistle with an embouchure.
A slide whistle with style.
Yes. And a famous Starship first officer playing it.
I still think it's adorable that you took up the trombone because of that.
Yeah. So well, it was a matter of recognition more than anything else. Yeah. It's like, oh, I recognize that one. Sure, I can play that. Sure enough, I could.
Because of that, whenever I picture you as a child, you're in a little Starfleet uniform playing a trombone.
No, I always dressed up as video game characters when I was little. I did Mega Man one year. I did Link one year. I did Donatello from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one year. Because of his appearance in the video game. That being the way I was familiar. Well, I think that pretty much covers everything, all the bases for now. I think that's pretty much it. New caseload and new annoying classes. And,
I do sometimes play up my non-threateningness for personal gain.
Yeah.
And it does make it a lot easier to talk to, like, police officers or people in authority.
Well, you know, as a woman, I'm sure you figured out.
Oh, yeah.
You've got it pretty easy there.
I mean, I just smile and whip out the Hello Kitty purse, and I'm good.